Welcome to Truth Uncompromised. I am your host, Rhonda. Join us every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Truth is peace. Truth is justice and freedom to love, live, and be. Music provided by SourceVibrations.com.
There's an old friend that I want to say something that touched my heart, and it began this way.
Compromise Show. I am your host, Rhonda, and tonight is Thursday, July 27th, and we have a great show planned for you tonight. It's good to be back tonight. I was trying to get it in with the Marvin Gaye remix of I Want You. Check out the whole song. It's about 9 minutes long. I promise you it's the straight up cut. I think the guy, the DJ's name that remixed that is, I can't remember his first name, but it's Morales. Anyway, the whole track is just tight. Okay, so what made me play that is I was looking at a documentary on HBO called The Defiant Ones. And the documentary has Dr. Dre in it. It's a hell of a documentary. It's a 4-part series, so I encourage you all to look at it because it went over Jimmy Iovine's background. That's the man that cut the deal with Dr. Dre on the headphones Beat by Dre, and then it went over Dr. Dre's background as well. So very, very good documentary. But anyhow, I'm looking at the little documentary, and Dr. Dre was in the studio, and he played the Marvin Gaye song, I Want You. And it was that particular mix that I was just playing. And I'm like, dang, that is bad. So I thought Dr. Dre did it. So when Dr. Dre was in the documentary, he was saying, this is a masterpiece right here. This is when, music was really good. You can't get no better than this. There's no improving on it, is what he says. So anyhow, I goes to YouTube because I'm like, dang, Dr. Dre hooked that up like that. I know he had to release that. So anyhow, I went to YouTube and I found out that someone else had did the remix, this Morales man. And I'm telling you, I wish Blog Talk was cooperating tonight with the little music, because I'm telling you, it is the cut. So when you get a chance, go check that out on YouTube. That's the remix of our great Marvin Gaye. So I'm happy to be back this week. Sorry I was out last week. Just had a lot of things going on and wanted to make sure that we brought you a quality show tonight. So tonight's topic is the shift and the ascension. So I'm really happy for us to be getting into that. And I actually, tonight also, we're going to start off with 2 follow-up topics. One follow-up topic, we talked about the divine feminine energy coming back into play. Someone sent me this, and I'm not going to mention the person's name. They sent me this particular article, which kind of tripped me out, and I was talking with them back and forth, and, they pretty much knew what time it was, so we're going to talk about that briefly as a follow-up, and then also something happened to me, interestingly enough, over the past week. I seen some activity in the sun. Now, we just did a show on the sun is feminine. So this is going to be interesting. So I'm not going to get into it until we bring on the family. So I know I saw Brother Wendell. Let me see if he's here. Hopefully he didn't put his little pot of greens down in his little beans. I got to tease him too because I done stepped up my bean game big time. So let me bring in Brother Wendell. Brother Wendell, you there?
Yeah. I hear you on about my beans. I hear you.
I said he either got him some greens or his beans. I said I'm gonna have to tell him I done stepped up on my bean game, boy. I done got my bean game tight now. I makes me a pot every week and snack for a couple of little days.
Yeah, if you do it right, you can get out.
Yeah, one of the sis sent me a text because I'm like, pinto my favorite, but I can't handle the gas. Woo woo woo. So she sent me a text, sis, soak them in some baking soda, and I had forgot about that. So last time I did my little pintos, soaked them in that baking soda, on and popping. I'm like, oh, it's on and popping. That's my favorite beans. But how you doing?
I'm all right, I reckon.
Good thing. Okay, let me bring in Brother Sean, and then I see Sis on the board as well. Let me bring in Brother Sean. Greetings, brother. How are you?
Greetings, beloved. I'm well, and yourself?
I'm good. Can't complain at all.
That's good. Brother Wendell, how you doing?
How you doing, my brother? I'm all right.
I'm trying to be all right.
I know that's right.
But you know what I got planned for tomorrow, though?
What?
16.
Oh, let me tell you one thing, sis. I'm coming to you, Sis Sandra. Let me tell you something. I made one Thanksgiving because I don't eat all of that meat, and that I haven't done that for a while. It's just a personal choice. I've never been a big meat eater anyway. I eat fish, but that's pretty much it. So at the holiday dinners, I always like to make a dish where, I can feel satisfied. And that is my dish, Brother Sean. I do the 16 bean soup. Mm-hmm. So we went over a relative's house one time. I want to say it was Thanksgiving. That's what it was. Thanksgiving. Made my little beans, hooked it up. As you know, the trick to the beans, y'all, especially if you're not putting meat in it, is to use vegetable stock. Mm-hmm. I cooked them beans. I barely had enough to get me one serving. They had ate all that whole pot of beans up. And so somebody was like, no, you got to cook that. I was like, no, you meat eaters, go on and continue to eat. No, that's on point. But yeah, that 16 bean soup is the bomb. It is really, really, really good. Very good. So you enjoy. I'll be thinking about you then. I might need some Sunday.
Okay.
Okay, let me bring Sis Sandra in. Let me bring her on. Greetings, sis.
Greetings, family.
How are you?
You made me hungry. I like that.
I know. Huh?
Love that 15 bean soup, except I put some soy chorizo in there. And, soy is not good, but every once in a while I throw a pack in there.
See, now, you being on the West Coast, I didn't know nothing about that soy chorizo until I went to California.
Oh, okay.
Because it's addicting. It is.
I'm like, oh, my goodness, soy is not good for you, but...
Yeah, I know. That's why I stopped eating it, but I used to substitute that soy chorizo, because they didn't even sell it out east or in the Midwest, girl, I used to have my brother buy a bunch, freeze it, overnight it. You know, that's a shame. That's how good the stuff is, family. But I would cook dishes, like pasta dishes, and I would substitute. And people couldn't tell. They like, I thought you said you don't eat red. I'm like, I don't. And you ain't eating red meat. No, you lying. That's how good that soy chorizo is. But it's just unfortunate.
I was thinking about making a lasagna dish with that.
I've made it with it before. Mm-hmm.
Did you? Okay, well then I'm on good stead then, because I'm thinking, well, I'm make some lasagna. I like lasagna, but can use that meat. Don't eat that red meat.
Yeah, that's chorizo. Mm-hmm.
Chorizo. Yeah, you can't eat too much red meat, but you can't eat soy either, because that puts a lot of estrogens in your system.
Right, and especially for men.
Especially for men.
But women too, because it makes us cancer, and your they said that's how also fibroids and stuff.
Oh, really?
Can harvest because of the too much estrogen being produced.
They put that soy in the formula for children. I think we talked about it. I'm not sure if we talked about it. It made the boys more feminine.
Yeah. So that's the only thing about that soy. And if I'm not mistaken, it was never supposed to be harvested as editable. I forgot what it was originally harvested for. I would have to go back and look it up.
Huh? Military application.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, because I think George Washington Carver was the first one to harvest it. To show them how to grow it, and it was for another purpose. I would have to go back and read it, but
It was meant for consumption. He said it wasn't meant for human consumption.
That's right. He sure did say that. He sure did.
They make plastic with that soy.
Plastic?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I think I like the vegetable stock. That sounded even better.
Yeah, girl. Use that vegetable stock in all of your dishes that require broth, or if you're like substituting. Because even my greens, to show you how that like the vegetable stock and the seasoning that you use, I've had brought greens, the vegetarian greens, to a function, and my pot, I come home with my pot empty. Wow. Versus, the folks that cooked it with meat, because I saute my greens with like the olive oil, onions, and spices, then put the vegetable stock in it, and they turn out real tender and real flavorful. So it's just the way you really flavor your food, that you can substitute a lot of the meat. So
my daughter said, "You old folks use Lorry seasoning salt. Lorry used to taste pretty good." I don't know what you like now.
I mean, in our defense, we've gotten away from that, because I don't even own any Lorries. I'm a Goya girl. I love the Goya season. I know you on the West Coast, sis. You know what I'm talking about when I say the Goya.
I do know Goya.
Yeah. So I use a lot of the Goya and fresh herbs and all that.
I think Goya has stock too, some kind of stock they sell.
I've never seen that.
I think they do, but I haven't been over there looking there for a while. But I'm going to go check it out.
Yeah, and but you have a larger selection on the West Coast too with Goya.
Yeah, Mexico is pretty much here.
True.
Yeah, they have some great tasting food. Woo!
Mm-hmm. Well, there are children, so they learn from the best. So
exactly.
They learn from the straight up best.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
All right, so
here.
Glad to have everyone here. So, okay, here's the follow-up. We're going to start with the divine feminine energy. And thank you to the sis, you know who you are, that sent this to me. This article came out of MSN. Now, This the part that's going to trip y'all out. Why she sent this to me. This is off MSN. This came out on the 17th. And it says Clinton donors have picked their 2020 Democratic presidential nominee. So it is a sister, a melanated sister. And it says, since Hillary Clinton's expected loss to Donald Trump, her donors have strategized with Democrats. Now, this getting ready to blow y'all wig back. Leadership about how to revive the failing party. Billionaire George Soros held a closed-door conference with wealthy donors in November 2016 that addressed how to take back power and was attended by House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi on the weekend of Trump's inauguration. It says David Brock hosted a retreat for the most prolific Democrat donors to figure out how to kick Donald Trump's blank on July 15th. And it says it's reported that Senator Kamala Harris, a potential 2020 Democratic president candidate, met with top Clinton donors in the Hamptons. So it just goes on to say just a couple of other people behind the scenes. It is yada, 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 this and the third. So the reason that the sis sent it to me, as soon as I opened up the article and saw the title and saw the melanated sister, I didn't even get to read through the rest, and I, immediately responded back to her. I said, you know what time this is, right? That they are trying to harness that energy that has to come back or is coming back through the melanated woman. So what it was about with having Hillary run again, they thought that they could do it through Hillary, okay? But because, she's Caucasian and doesn't have the strongest melanated gene, that 9-ether gene, wasn't going to work no way. So now that they know that the feminine energy, that feminine divine energy is definitely swinging back in play, now all of a sudden they want to back a melanated woman for presidency. So I just thought that was extremely interesting that anytime you have Soros and anybody that keeps up with that stuff and knows that inner crowd that runs things behind the scenes, that's a pretty huge deal for him to be behind closed doors trying to back a melanated woman. It just confirms what we already know, what we know from a spiritual perspective about that divine feminine energy that is here, and particularly it's going to come through the melanated woman. So I definitely just want to give the family an update on that, of what folks are trying to do to harness that energy.
You know who they got their eyes set on, don't you?
Who?
Take a guess.
Who? Michelle?
Oprah Winfrey?
Nope.
I just
Condoleezza? Because I've heard Condoleezza too.
Nope. Ain't none of them got no juice like this one do.
Juice like that.
They got the album Cynthia McKinney.
Cynthia, McKinney.
Oh, now that one shocks me. Where'd you hear that from? Because you mean the Green Party? Because I know the Green Party is crazy about Cynthia McKinney.
North Carolina.
You know when everything was going down in the early 2000s, Cynthia McKinnon put them on blast. And,
yeah, because she was the only one against the whole invasion of Iraq and all that. Mhm.
Yeah. She had to go. She went to India for a while. She had to get out of the country. But remember, they tried to take her out. She was on a.
Sure
she was
did.
On a ship. She was on a ship going to Somalia or somewhere, and they tried to sink their ship with on it.
Right, because her and Gaddafi were like cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting. That's real interesting.
She's from Carolina, isn't she?
Georgia.
She's from Georgia. She's
Georgia?
She's from right here. She's from right here in the county where I'm at.
Yeah, I used to watch her.
She's Decatur, isn't she?
Yeah, DeKalb County.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, she's definitely Georgia. Now that's interesting. I know that Green Party is crazy about her. So that'll be interesting. I do know that she's anti-system for sure, because she lost a lot coming out against the system. Like you said, she left the country for a while. I know she came back, and she's been doing a lot of independent stuff. I don't know if she still has her radio show. At one point, she had a little radio spot on one of the local radio stations in Atlanta. So I'm going to have to watch that one. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, but we don't have to look at her carefully. Maybe they didn't got her.
Well, she was the one that came out and said that they told all Congress members that they had to take an oath toward it's not real. I mean, literally, she came out in public and said that. So I was like, well, then did you take the oath? So it's going to be interesting. That's why I'm going to watch that one very, very closely. I'm going to watch it closely.
Mm-hmm.
Going to really watch that one closely. And we'll be able to tell based on how she moves. But we do know that anybody that's held that seat, you're definitely going to follow the game.
Exactly.
That's just the bottom line. You know who you answer to, because they get behind closed doors and they make the determination who they want to consider. So that's going to be an interesting one. So, okay, that's the first follow-up item. The second one is, let's talk about this sun. Now, remember when we did the show on the sun is feminine, and a part of that, Brother Sean, you brought in some information about the artificial sun, remember? So, what had happened was, over the last week, I have this new security system, and it has cameras. So anytime there's a motion, these cameras take a still picture, and sometimes they'll take a video. So I was out doing something in the yard, and it took a picture, and you get a notification. So I looked at the picture, and the sun was just so happened setting. I'm looking at the sun, looking at this picture. Number one, the sun is just distorted like a mug, y'all. I mean, it's not circular. I don't know what the hell shape it is, to be honest. Then it has two black dots in it, one in the center, and then one like the top right-hand side. Now, I remember people saying that when they were taking pictures of the sun, they would have the sundial glare, and then they were noticing black spots in the sun, okay? And then when they then people started saying those are planets behind there. So I, zoomed in on the picture, and the black dot, one of the black dots, the one in the middle, it just didn't look right. I couldn't zoom in on the one in the upper right-hand corner. So I goes and to YouTube to see if anybody else have been having these anomalies when they're taking pictures of the sun, because I remember people saying that on other YouTube videos. And what do they come back with, Brother Sean? That people are capturing pictures of the sun, and it's that damn artificial sun that they put up, and the black dot in the center is the main LED light that spins. Because if you zoom in on the picture, you're going to see the pixels in the LED light. And I'm like, that's why that didn't look normal to me. So far, that security camera has caught the sun looking all distorted. And that dot in the middle, the second time that it caught it, it didn't have the little other one, the other black dot on the upper right-hand corner. So I'm guessing, and I don't know for sure, that the other black dot in the upper right-hand corner, that could really be the true sun, or it could have been another planet. Because when I looked at the YouTube videos, people are standing out filming the sun set, and they're literally capturing two light sources. So in other words, they're catching the artificial sun in front with the black dot in the middle, and they're seeing the other sun behind it, because they can look at the light sources on their camera, and somebody filmed it on the water. And the one person filmed it where the artificial sun was setting, and you can look in the water and you saw all of the light sources. You saw the artificial sun light source, and in the middle of it you saw the LED light, the black dot, and in the water it showed where the black dot was. It wasn't a planet, it was just these little boxes. So it looked like some type of computer or LED light system, and then you saw another light source in the water as well. So I thought that was just, it blew my mind. And what it also made me think of, sis, was how you said it's been so extremely hot.
Oh, yeah.
Where you are. And I'm like, I don't know if these lights are just too hot. So it'll be interesting. I've seen, many videos say that some still think that they're trying to hide the Nibiru system. The most wildest thing that I heard about was one person saying that they are putting that artificial sun up because when Nibiru came in, it was going to somehow block our regular sun, and they wanted to avoid an ice age.
Well, I heard the sun has holes in it, and it's missing a lot of the sun. On our side, I think it is facing us. And lately on BP Earth Watch on YouTube, I just saw this today or yesterday. They said the sun has holes in it, and that it is sped up its movement towards the Milky Way, which is kind of like in our subject about ascension, and that it's also having a maximum explosion. It is exploding. I forget how he called that, where it's exploding. It's like Earth destroying type of flares that is happening.
Solar flares. Mm-hmm.
Solar flares, yeah. And also he said there was a massive ship that came out, kind of like trying to keep that flare from destroying the Earth. So they saw some kind of spacecraft coming out of it. So that'll go back to that cigar-shaped ships that is supposed to go in there to the volcanoes with the asteroids about to hit the Earth, and they will, destroy the asteroids before they hit the Earth. So we got a lot of company, and that's part of that ascension thing that you're going to talk about.
Yeah, we're going to get into that too, because I'm going to equate it into different energy levels, because I got to thinking on it a little bit. I'm like, So you then threw up. Let me make sure I enter and overstand this right. Never a straight answer, a.k.a. NASA, has a patent on an artificial sun, pretty much, okay? They've had the patent for a while. They're going to try to make us believe they don't have it operational. Pretty much they have it operational. So you really ain't giving no reason why you feel the need to create an artificial sun. Okay, so I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
Carbon neutral energy is what they say.
Exactly. Carbon neutral energy. So to neutralize what?
Carbon.
Exactly. And what, because I remembered our conversation too when you said carbon neutralize or neutral, and we're like, to neutralize the carbon. Then what hit me was like, you know what? This is why our food supply is so tainted. Because if you think about it, if you're blocking out the sun, that is a lot of nutrients not getting through to the plants, to the people. So that's why even the vegetables that we have today, even the quality of the soil or dirt that we have today isn't of the proper quality. So they were spraying the skies to put this like invisible barrier. Now they have an artificial damn light up there. So now it's going to grow the plants, because the folks that grow they weed or that grow plants indoors, you could use artificial light to do that. But the plants would be a lot healthier, of course, if they're getting that DNA energy from the sun. So I just thought that was very interesting, and for me to have caught it on just within 1 week's time, saw it that way twice. I'm like, yeah, okay. So a brother did do a video on it. It's not that long. He's saying the sun is being cloaked and adjusted. This is by Hieroglyphic Communication. Let me see. I always say that I should at least try to find it before I say that. I don't think it's long. I want to play that real quick for the family. But while I'm looking for that, in case anybody else has something they wanted to put on it.
Yeah. It's that artificial light that we was warned about. I mean, that artificial light couldn't be vibrating at the same frequency as the sunlight. Even though it's capable of growing things, what is it doing to things on the DNA level?
Right. Very good point, Brother Sean. If that LED light cannot be possibly vibrating at the same frequency as the sun. So therefore, it is blocking out information and vital nutrients to the plant, to the animals, to the soil, and hell, to some of us. Okay. So I found the video, family. It's only 11 minutes long. It's called "The Sun is Cloaked" off the YouTube channel Hieroglyphic Communication. So I'm gonna play this. We're gonna come back and chop it up, and then we're gonna jump into the shift and ascension.
What it is out there, what it is. I said what it is. Now what's happening, yo? Hey, look here. It's a quick little explanation for a whole lot of my information. You know, to those who be looking out there for a little bit of different type of information. You know what I mean? A little bit more in depth within ourselves instead of that scholarly type of information. Nevertheless, here's what the deal is. I had a computer crash, right? You know, I lost a lot of information on my hard drive. So, actually the hard drive didn't crash. It didn't eat up the hard drive or nothing. But the thing was, my hard drive had a problem that I couldn't correct in a timely fashion. So me, myself, I formatted it and re-put the operating system up on it, and knowing that I had a backup so I could just back it up. Well, all that does not work. And I had something I had been sitting on for like 5 weeks, and I needed to show it to you. All right, now I'm going to go into a little detail because I have not the information. I am trying at this moment to get these files recovered, restoring these files. Because I can still restore the files even though they're a little bit back a little bit, but nevertheless, I can't open them. I got stuff that's like a SFK file and a SFAPO file. A lot of my stuff is showing up, but I can't open it. Probably because I changed from a TouchSmart 23-inch computer to a non-TouchSmart, which have a different hard drive, and it's not like lining up or whatever. And plus, I was going from the backup, which was Windows 7, and then I'm going into a Windows 8. I'm not too sure if that's going to make a difference, but that's my problem. I have lost some information and some videos that I've already made, highly technical, and very informative. All right, and it's messed up, and I had 5 weeks sitting on it and didn't give it to you. Nevertheless, I'm gonna tell you about it though. It's about the sun. The sun. All right. I want you to grab, if you got a drone, get yourself a drone. If you even know somebody that have a drone with a camera on it, film the sun. All right. Then take your phone. All right. Take your phone, whatever phone you may have, and film the sun. All right. Film it for about 2 minutes straight on a drone. One on a drone, because the drone has it has a flat lens, and not only that, it has some type of different mechanism in it. I don't know. But the phone, you film that too. All right. Now, when you get both of these, the one on the drone should show you the black hole in the sun. The one on your phone should show you the regular, the sun, but it's gonna have like 6 orange round spots around the sun. And when you move that camera, it's going to show you the point of that camera coming around the whole rim or circumference of the sun. It looks like the sun is in a ball, and you can't tell it. You're going to see a line coming through the sun, something like this, and you're not going to see it with your naked eye. You're only going to see it on your camera phone, all right? And them 6 pink or some type of bright, like reddish, like faded reddish pink or whatever it is, they're going to be all around the damn sun. Now, they was talking about them putting up mirrors and trying, and matter of fact, it was Delbert Blair. He was talking about research this now and look at the sun. I want you to study the sun and look at it and watch it. Well, I took those pictures and I played around with, you know how you change the mode of it? You can go to thermal and all this type of stuff. Whatever your computer has to alter the picture in any way, hit it and switch it and see what it does. All right? See what it does, and you're going to be surprised. I had it all lined up, but I didn't have no narration to it. But I had some. But it's very interesting, brothers and sisters. Let me get back to what Delbert Blair said. He was saying that watch the sun, because he said that they was trying to make Russia, I might get this wrong, or some European continent or country warmer, all right? So they would put mirrors around the sun and angle it. Now, keep this in mind too. The sun used to be orange and all that type of stuff. What am I getting at? They got these things called sun simulators, all right? And their mission was to make the light bright of the sun, but to magnify it and intensify it and all this type of stuff and do all types of things things other to it, all right? Now, when you're playing around with a magnifying glass, what would that do? You already know it can burn fires and shit, right? You remember, what is that dude's name? Alexander the Fake? The Great, so-called, the Great Fake. Nevertheless, him. They said in Alexandria he had a light house that was equipped with a big mirror, and it could burn ships, wooden ships far out in the ocean. Check this out, man. They putting mirrors around the damn sun. All right. It's not, and it's not like I'm revealing something that's real ridiculous, because once you hit Sun Simulator and you see how many people is in the middle, it's like 100,000, all right, motherfuckers who know about this and been propagating this. I had so much information and so many different views and so much shit, all right, for real. You can actually, if you got the right type of technology in your software, you can actually see the hexagonal part that's in the middle of the sun. And it's not, I'm not talking about right directly in the middle. I'm talking about before you get to the edges, you'll see the hexagonal shape. You can see it all. And then you flip to Sun Simulator from NASA, and they'll show you it's a hexagonal thing with hexagon little mirrors that's combined to make it gigantic. And it's 6 of them and things of this nature. I think we have been on the wrong path. Okay? It's right before you. It's right before you. Now take a look at that. I'm going to get back to you. I'm going to be shipping out of several different little things of information. But this right here had really kind of upset me, because I had to bring something to you that was very thorough. And then you can look for yourself and see. Okay? But now, since you can't, by my hands and by my wisdom, or not wisdom, but by my study, you must do it yourself. And I'm going to catch it again. I mean, not catch it, it's always there. But I'm going to do it again. Right now, I'm trying to recover by restoring these files so I could do what I need to do. I've been, that's one of the reasons why I went back into training. Not went back into training. Been showing y'all my training and things of this nature, because, it's powerful also. You know what I mean? Meaning to give you something to focus on with yourself. You know what I mean? To focus on with yourself. It's a lot of things we don't do no more. I'm just trying to give you something else to do, and it really centers yourself. So, yes. So, nevertheless, in all regard, look at the sun simulator, and also take the camera, get a drone. You don't even have to own one. You know somebody with one. Go grab one and just hold it. Don't fly the thing. Just hold it and point the camera at the sun for about 2 to 5 minutes if possible. And then download that on your phone, take it on home, throw it on your computer, pull it up and start playing with the different change in the lights and to go to thermal and brown and whatever they have. Change it and look at it. All right? For real. And then do it on your phone and do it again. Okay? I heard you. So, proceed. Indeed. Check it out. Get back with me. Leave a link. Take your pictures. Switch it around. Go to the sun simulator. See how many people say the sun is fake and why they say it's fake. Take a good look. Get back with me. You already know what time it is. And what it do, you already know, is what it done did. Keep your eyes focused. And you remember that song that I think it was the Commodores. It said, keep your head to the sky. Keep your head to the sky. Check that out too, brothers, sisters, guys, and goddesses. All right. Be well and do whatever you do. Well, I'll be back at you in a little bit. Blink your eye and I'll be right there. You might have to blink it twice, maybe 20 times. Go slow. I'll come forward again.
All right. So that was a YouTube video called "The Sun is Being Cloaked and Adjusted," and that's off the YouTube channel Hieroglyphic Communication. Okay, so I did just want to bring that to the family. Brother Sean, I know you and I was texting back and forth, so if you could just share with the family what you were saying about the black dot in the middle. Mm-hmm.
And when the black dots are other places than the center, probably those bulbs burning out. And in the center, the thing that's being seen spinning is some fan or solar panels, because you would have to keep the bulbs somewhat cool to keep them from just continuously burning out.
Yeah, because that makes sense, because I was wondering, I'm like, how the hell are they keeping that cool? Because ain't no way they could have them all them lights straight up blaring like that, and then you sitting it behind the regular sun. So that makes sense what you're saying about a fan. Yes, Brother Kelly, the song "Keep Your Head to the Sky" is by Earth, Wind, and Fire. I said that. Yeah, I'm like, brother, how could you get that wrong? That's Earth, Wind, and Fire. But yeah, but yeah, Brother Sean, that's a really good one. So I did want to update the family with that. So on another note, and this ties into the show, The Shift and Ascension, when we talked about the sun is feminine topic, and we talked about the black sun. Mm-hmm. And so remember, it was, I think, Brother Sean and Brother Wendell, you both were saying, kind of giving your theories on where the black sun could actually be located. Okay. Now, this particular video that I ran up on, and now just mind you, family, I ran up on the video that I'm going to share with you accidentally, I guess because I was looking at the sun as being cloaked. This one came up, and I'm like, man, this would have been perfect for the Sun is Feminine show, but this is going to tie into our topic tonight on the Shift and Ascension. So this particular video is going to go into the Aurora, is it Borealis, right?
Borealis.
Okay, Borealis, Aurora Borealis. They're seeing flat Earth magnetism, the gate of God, and summary of Rio. So what's going to be interesting about this video, and I encourage the people, and this is off of a YouTube channel called Flat Earth Paradise. they have beautiful graphics. So I would encourage the family, and I'll drop this link in the chat room and on Truth Uncompromised Facebook page, because the graphics are phenomenal. But they are going to show you, and he's going to discuss it in this video, the position of the regular sun, the position of the black sun, and what causes the aurora, how you say it, Brother Sean, borealis? Borealis. Tripped me out. Makes total sense. And it's also going to tie into the shift and ascension and our particular energy chakra center. So I'm going to go into that. But before I go into that, does anybody else have anything they want to put on it? This isn't long either, family. This is only 12 minutes.
You know, the Flat Earth was talking about the fact that everything that we see in the sky is made up anyway. Remember we were talking about it's the refractory of the lens that makes you see all the stuff that you're supposed to be seeing on all the planets. They're not really real.
Right, and I'm sorry, sis, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I said a lot of things is not real anymore.
Right, and it's interesting because I had seen this video before, and I didn't pull it because it's just truly a video that you have to see visually, where it was back in the day, I want to say the 60s, where they actually told on their damn self when they was, quote, quote, supposedly in orbit.
Going to the moon, yeah.
And, you know, they kind of showed where, and this time they weren't even in the moon, they were just orbiting. And they told on themselves how the stars were basically on the inside. So meaning not far out in space as they're saying it, and they had to turn around and kind of correct it up, and they had like this visual, and you could see the quote dome, and then you could see the other side of it, and I'm sitting there like, oh hell no, it's right there. But of course, if you don't know what you're looking for, you don't get it. But yeah, so before I play this, 813, I'm going to bring you in so you can put something on it.
So if you look at the distance the sun's supposed to be, how is our cameras being able to catch all this stuff?
Right, well, that we're going to get on that a little bit too, sis. 813, I think your line is open.
Hi, good evening, everybody.
Greetings, how are you?
Doing just fine. My 2 cents about the issue too is because it creates a lot of confusion, because you also have people who, like I said, they don't support the flat earth, and then you have the people who support the flat earth, and then they say there's no planets out of space, there's no aliens out of space, and then you have another group that said there's aliens out of space that are fighting for us. And then it's like that creates kind of a confusion, and it's like you leave people who are trying to seek truth, that leaves them in further confusion. And so it's like sometimes, like for me, I go back and forth. It's like, what is it? And then if there are aliens out there, how come, they never manifest to us? Some people say they're doing their job out there, they're going in the sun and the moon. But, with respect to people who are flat earthers, when you hear their arguments, I humbly step back and say, okay, I respect your point as well. So sometimes I don't know how you guys feel about it, but sometimes I get confused.
That's a very, very excellent question. I'm going to leave your mic open, if you don't mind, so you could have an open dialogue. I'll give my little 2 cents. Now, this is my humble opinion. This is Rhonda's opinion. Everybody do with it as they may, because everybody's belief system is different, or what you know or feel is different from what I feel. I think both groups are right. So meaning I do think that the earth is a plane that is flat, but it does have a dome encased over it, but it has stackable layers. So imagine there's a plane, And in the video that I'm going to play in a minute, it's going to explain it that way as well. And that's another reason I kind of freaked out when I saw the video, because when I finally wrapped my mind around the flat earth topic, then I'm like, okay, well, the concept of inner earth, and then I'm like, I get it. It's stackable. It's a plane with stackable dimensions, okay? And as far as the other galactic entities or beings, they exist, but they exist in different dimensions. You know, in the higher dimensions, depending on what level you are from a consciousness perspective,
Sure.
you can reach those dimensions. So I think that both sets of camps are right. There is no right or wrong. It's just people digesting the information and tapping into their records to get the connections. Because it took me a long time to get the concept of the flat earth and the other beings in the dimensions until I had to get it in my mind. Okay, number one, you have stackable planes. So that solved the inner earth. And then number two, once you reach beyond the dome, there are higher dimensions that, of course, we're not going to, quote, quote, see into until you reach those levels from a conscious perspective. That is why some people can communicate in those realms and with some of those beings. So in my humble opinion, that's what it is. I feel both parties are correct.
So it's one of those things where there's a little bit of truth in everything, and you just have to find the middle ground.
Absolutely. Sorry about that. I put myself on mute. Absolutely. You always have to, take the information. That's why I am a huge believer in not just studying one person.
Absolutely.
Or not just
Me too.
following one person. Study it all. Because what that's going to do is trigger your DNA, unlock that Akashic records to your DNA, and then it's going to resonate for you. And for me, once I get those moments where I'm like, that makes sense, then it gets to the point where it's going to be validated in some type of way through someone else, through an experience that I may have, and then I can go, yep, I got it. That confirms da 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 da. So yes. So that's my take.
Okay.
Go ahead on, sis.
I saw a video of some guys who did a air balloon, one of them weather balloon type things, and they floated it up into the sky, and they took pictures of spaceships refueling supposedly at the sun. Now, I also heard that the space station is only 100 miles up, and the dome is supposed to be 300 miles up. So they're not even getting out of the dome, because that's why we have a hole in it, because they shot a hole in it back in the 50s, I understand, to try to get out of the dome. So we're kind of encased in that dome, and if they're layered, there's a lot of layers to that dome that they can't get out of. This is what they call prison planet. And
I'm sorry, go ahead, sis.
We discussed that before, didn't we?
Yeah, we discussed it several times, and some say we're being quarantined. But the way the flat Earth theory says that it's that dome, and then between the dome there's water. Okay, so and there's a great video that the liquor maker Hennessy did a video on one of the guys who went up in the balloon and that saw, and this was back in the 30s, that saw the shape of the planet as being a plane, him describing hitting a dome. But in this particular commercial that they were honoring him through the Drink Hennessy, y'all, he shattered the dome, and he wound up being submerged in water. So they were totally explaining the flat earth theory that, you know, we are encased in a dome, and then above that dome is a density level of water. So that's why some of the flat earthers say, oh, well, you know, that isn't no other planets, because from their perspective, beyond the dome, there's just density there of water. So that's where they're getting it from. So the planets that we see or whatever are really encased within that dome, either encased within it or it's like a skin or a layer over that dome. And that's why they're saying as the cosmos rotate around the dome, we don't rotate around that dome. The cosmos are the ones that rotate, and it's why that you can predict with very much so accuracy the alignment of the stars. So, you know, I would just take it a step further from the spiritual perspective, and we're going to talk about that tonight as we go into the Shift and Ascension, that those particular cosmos, they are energy centers. Those planets are energy centers. And they predict, you know, once, you know, they swing around, as the cosmos swing around, they predict the levels of energy sources that are the strongest. And we'll get into that a little bit deeper tonight. So that's just my 2 cents.
May I say something, sis?
Absolutely, brother. Sure.
It's so funny because that was the very thing I was looking at this week. It's weird because it's almost like when you incarnate or reincarnate, your life script is also according to these astrology. I mean, literally, the way you think, the way you act, the karma that happens to you, the blessings. It's almost like it's weird, but it's all connected.
Well, it's interesting that you say this. I cannot make this up. I promise you. Right before I jumped on air tonight, I was conversing with the brother back and forth via Facebook email, and he asked me about birth charts. So you know what I'm talking about when I speak on birth charts, right?
Yes.
And so I'm like, I haven't done mine. I wanted to learn how to do my own. I started it, and so we started. He said, you know, it's astrology. I said, yes, I know that. It's also very important what particular physical time you were born. And he started talking about the houses. And so we talked about, I said, well, I realized the year that I was born, why I chose back to come that particular year. I even know, far as from an astrology perspective, because of my born sign of being that leader, that Aries. So it's very, very interesting that you would equate that, brother. And that's why I feel they are energy centers, that the cosmos are energy centers. And as we choose to incarnate or reincarnate from the higher dimensional realms back into these density realms, that we as souls choose which one of those energy centers, or you want to say ages, we choose to come back in. Because it's all energy. At the end of the day, it's all energy and vibration. It's just basically that you're choosing to take on this physical body and this particular density. And I believe that planet Earth, or Mama Earth, it's a training center. And it's the best training center, probably, definitely in our galaxy, and probably one of the best in all of the galaxies. So that's my 2 cents.
I would like to. Sis.
Sure, go ahead, Brother Sean.
I look at it from this perspective. We know that everything is energy. We're in the matrix.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we could go back and forth about the shape. But how do we know we're actually where they say we are? Period.
That's
exactly.
a very good point. That's a very good point.
I mean, it's like
that's
none
a
of
very
that
good
is
point.
real. And
Exactly.
the main truth is within you. I mean,
Exactly.
there's tons of information out here, and that's what it's designed for, to keep us focused on this physical realm instead of trying to go beyond it. Everything is us.
Mm-hmm.
We fear stuff, and it's all a part of us. Fear is the thing that's holding us here. Fear is the reason we keep coming back. Because we're scared to go beyond a certain point.
Mm-hmm. Scared to go back from where you came, essentially.
Yeah.
Exactly. Too scared to go beyond. So they give us visions of being enclosed in. Whether you're talking about the dome, too. That's where we're closed in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something capable of controlling an infinite energy. So we have to do it. They plant the seed, tell us we here, we there. We make it true. Everything that everybody say is true because it's their reality. That's what they put their energy into. There is no right and wrong, period. Nothing's real. It's all perception.
Yes.
What you give your energy to, that's what's real.
Very good point. Very good point.
And you know what? Because and that's why for me, it's the same thing. It goes back to the same thing again. I wonder if when we reincarnate, if the package deal that we have with the astrology sign, if that's put there as a means to control. Because I was looking at the YouTube channel where you have Sevan Bomar, and I was listening to him, and I remember he said the whole part of the growth is to rise above the astrology signs. I don't know if you guys remember him saying that or picked up on that. Because what you come in is part of the pre-approved package, but you got to rise above what's been stamped on you, and that's almost like rising above your astral chart. And for me, I just feel like the whole thing in this matrix is like just like what you said previously. It's a prison planet, all kind of manipulation and deception.
Right, but and I totally 1,000% agree with what you're saying, but that is the dynamics that we created as far as it being encased in the dome, and as far as the rules being the 12 zodiac. But the topic of the show tonight is the shift and ascension. So you really just hit on it. In order to ascend, you get past those zodiacs. So in other words, you get past the 12 levels and to reach the higher realms. So you get past it. You go beyond this matrix. Absolutely.
You go beyond anything that's scripted, because we existed before any language or any writings, any script. We existed before.
Absolutely. 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 But great topic, brother. Thank you for just coming on and addressing the whole concept of the flat Earth and the galactics and energy, because folks get fighting mad over this flat Earth stuff, whether or not it's galactics, and you know, at the end of the day, it's all about you internally, how you're choosing to manage your vessel or your Merkaba. So it really don't matter what anybody else think or what they claim. You should be thinking. We are in the age of knowing. So you have to get to a point with yourself as you're doing your inner work where you just know. You know because you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're gone are the days. We're not in the age where someone is before you being the Messiah and telling you this is what you need to believe, blah, 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 because everything that you need is encoded within you. You just have to unlock it in the particular combination that makes sense for you, because you wrote the script when you came here. You wrote your particular script when you came to this realm. So nobody can tell you how to execute your script better than you. But what people can and will try to do is get you to follow a script that they want you to follow.
Right.
So thank you so much, brother, and hopefully you'll call in and join us again.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Peace and love. Okay, family. So I want to get into the video on the Aurora Borealis, flat Earth, magnetism, the gate of God, and it's going to get exactly into this concept of the energy field. So this one isn't too long. It's only 12 minutes long, and then we're going to come back and chop it up. So here we go.
Hey, thanks for joining me. Hope you're doing well. Vril is a natural, abundant energy that pervades all planes of existence. The Chinese refer to it as Qi, the Hindu as Prana, and the Japanese as Reiki. Albert Pike said of this force, "There is in nature one most potent force, by means whereof a single man who could possess himself of it and should know how to direct it could revolutionize and change the face of the world." Helena Blavatsky of the Theosophical Society described this Vril energy as an aether stream that could be transformed into a physical force. In the book The Coming Race, Edward Bulwer Lytton explained his encounter with a race of subterranean beings who learned how to master the Vril. They used Vril to heal, to build their societies, and to keep peace among them. It helped them achieve old healthy age, bliss, and contentment. It was harnessed energy that could be used for great purposes or for malice. It can destroy like the flash of lightning, he writes, yet differently applied, it can replenish or invigorate life, heal and preserve. So important a bond between these several communities was the knowledge of Vril and the practice of its agencies. This Vril had also improved all forms of life within the society. Since the Vril light had superseded all other light-giving bodies, the colors of flower and foliage had become more brilliant, and vegetation had acquired larger growth. So everything in this underground civilization was enhanced with the power of the Vril. The Vril Society was shortly formed after the book was published. The Vril were focused not on political and monetary agendas, but on the other side, the hidden forces that power this reality. They were like the hippies of their own time. The Vril maidens did not cut their hair because it helped harness Vril. Many other traditions and cultures have stated that long hair can help raise creative life force, which increases vitality, intuition, and tranquility. Hair is like a spiritual antenna. So this Vril energy has also been known as orgone, odic forces, and the astral light. The ancient Roman re cibele, meaning rolling astral light, is the same force that reigns everywhere. It is the mighty soul of the world, the vibrating substance which forms all creation. These names are talking about the divine feminine energy pouring out from the earth, the mother goddess. The aurora borealis is the physical light manifestation of this vril energy, the astral light. It shoots out of the center hole. It's not always visible, but it's always there, pouring out and filling our plane with this vital energy. In many photos of the aurora, it's clear that there's a singular origin of the light, one focal point where it's pouring out from. On a globe model, it might make sense that what we're looking at is just the light going around the curvature. But as we know, curvature is a myth. Once we see it for what it is, this is a light that's coming out from a source in the distance. This source is the true magnetic north, where there's a vortex where all compasses point to, in which when we pass through, we achieve everlasting life. But we're told there's 3 different North Poles. The geographic North Pole is in the Arctic, marked at the bottom of the sea by a Russian flag. The geomagnetic pole, we're told, is constantly moving due to magnetic changes. In 2001, it was near Ellesmere Island in northern Canada, and now it's somewhere in the Canadian Arctic Territory. Then there's the actual North Pole, the pole that our compasses point towards. This magnetic north is said to be about 250 miles away from the geographic North Pole. I know, it's all very confusing. Technically, the North Pole is the South Pole, but let's not go there in this video. It's mostly unimportant. This is yet another drawn-out, overly complex scientific explanation we're given to confuse us and keep us in intellectual circles that seem reasonable but evade the truth. The truth is all compasses point to the magnetic mountain, Mount Meru, at the center of our plane. The 4 rivers that diverge from Mount Meru's location change their motion often, and this is what causes the tides on Earth. When you look on Google Earth and other maps, you find the actual magnetic North Pole is located somewhere in the Arctic Ocean. This is partly true, but they never show land here. There is land here, and there is a sacred mountain. In 1569, Gerhard Mercator made a map of the North Pole showing this magnetic mountain. Ancient Buddhist, Vedic, and Jain cosmologies state that at the North Pole there is a mountain, sometimes in the context of a city called Shambhala. The Puranic and Sumerian traditions speak of a Mount Sumeru. The Turkmen tribes of southern Turkestan spoke of a copper pillar that marked the navel of the earth. The Mongols wrote of Mount Sumer with the Zambu tree on its summit. I could go on, but you get what I'm saying. This mountain is throughout mythology. So these 3 different North Poles I mentioned earlier only exist on the premise that we live on a ball Earth that acts as a ball magnet, that has 2 opposing poles on either side because of a core made of molten metal. The Earth has only been drilled into for 12 kilometers, and nothing can penetrate this distance. So where's the evidence of a core made of molten metal? The evidence has already been established. We live on a flat plane. So we could look at a ball magnet and say the poles on those are just like the poles of our Earth, but that would require making sense of curvature and a non-existent molten metal core. Ring magnets, though, have their north polarity in the center and their south polarity in the outer rim, the exact magnetism of the flat Earth model. What we call Antarctica is this south polarity, being the giant ice wall that extends the circumference of the flat Earth. All compasses point to the center, the north polarity of our plane. This is a photo of the aurora borealis taken near the South Pole. This one is taken near the North Pole. Side by side, we can extract one thing. We are looking at 2 sides of the same light that's coming from the same source. The North Pole's light is the inverse of the South Pole's. The Lakota Indians used the aurora borealis for its healing properties. Those who had health problems would stand facing the aurora, hold their hands towards the light, and inhale deeply. The Lapps people would decorate their shamanic drums in order to harness this energy. These people knew about the benefits of this concentrated vril. Again, the aurora borealis is the visible part of this vril energy, but most of it isn't visually detectable. However, it pervades everything. The black sun emits this vril, this astral light. It indeed shoots out of the center, but it also emanates throughout our plane. It powers nature. It powers us. It's the sacred life force. And the Vril Society claimed this energy came from the black sun. Their symbols show the black sun, oftentimes with a lightning bolt coming out from it. This isn't specific to the Vril, however. The swastika is often intertwined in the black sun symbol. The swastika is found throughout history, and what this actually represents is the vortex we go through when we enter the center of our plane. See how it looks like a spinning vortex? The Zersheben has been found in Nordic graves going back 3,000 years. The swastika and black sun is everywhere. The reason the black sun symbol is seen pervading in all directions should be obvious by now. The energy from it is all around us. Our intent directs it. The energy fuels our subconscious, and this is why it's able to be used for good or bad. It's solely based on intent. For instance, when we direct positive energy and love towards plants, they grow faster and with more strength. And this is because our prana, our vril, our intent, is aligned with nurturing principles. The Babylonians called Bab-Ilu the gate of God. Many say Bab-Ilu is where we get the word Babel from, hence the story of the Tower of Babel. And the Tower of Babel, as I explored in previous videos, is synonymous with Mount Meru and the vortex beyond it. Bab-Ilu, again, is the gate of God, the gateway into another world. In this piece of text I found, it says, "The sun enters Bab-Ilu, or the gate of God, at the winter solstice, and starts his journey northward. During the solstice, the sun spins in and out of the center hole, into this gate of God, and then begins its journey north from its lowest point in the sky. This is why the winter solstice contains the longest nighttime of the year." On the top of the page, we see the cross of the Ilu. There's 8 lines emanating from it. This is similar to the ancient 8-rayed symbol of the Nibiru. This symbol represents a gateway, just like the cross represents the gate of God. The Mayan Great Celestial Conjunction shows an 8-pointed star as well. We have the Dharma Wheel, which represents Nirvana. It's easy to overthink these symbols, but they're all telling us. The gateway to God, to heaven, to Nirvana, is at the center of our plane. This is the Babylonian black sun symbol, showing 8 lines. We have the Mesopotamian sun symbol, we have the ancient Shamash, and many more. And we even see 8 lines emanating from the inside of CERN. In the book Ether, God and Devil and Cosmic Superimposition, Wilhelm Reich describes the connection between orgone, another name for vril, and the aurora borealis. He also says, orgone energy can be demonstrated everywhere. Accordingly, it penetrates everything. Check out the cover of the book. My opinion is that the illustration shows a black sun pointing energy upward. In The Astrolite by Louise A. Off, the astrolite is said to be the immortal spirit, the originator of cosmic life. In the present age, our science informs us. We perceive in the main only the lowest vibrations and inferior qualities of the astral light, because we are in the lower arc of our present cycle, and the energy of the life wave is at its ebb. Blavatsky says of Plato's method of expression that he divides the intellectual progress of the universe during every cycle into fertile and barren periods. When those circulations take place in harmony with the divine spirit, our earth and everything pertaining to it enjoys a fertile period. The occult powers of plants, animals, and minerals magically sympathize with its superior natures, and the divine soul of man is in perfect intelligence with these inferior ones. Ignoring our latent inherent forces, we drift in negative submission to the lower laws of nature, suffer deprivation, want of thought, emotion, and volition, while the precious fluid, in mute anticipation, haunts our dreamless sleep and awaits the dawning of a higher consciousness. This is an eerily beautiful passage, and it's telling us man is currently in tune with the destructive aspects of the astral light, of the vril, and nature has all along been in tune with the empowering aspects, much of which we don't detect because we vibrate at different frequencies. This is one way of answering the age-old dilemma. Why doesn't man seem to blend in with his environment? We are currently on the way out of this barren cycle, and I can feel it. The age of Aquarius. These energies are on the rise, and this may be why the powers that be more than ever are trying to infiltrate our minds and hearts with as much toxicity as they can. I won't get into the accounts of concentrated vril being used by the reptilians, but know that vril is being used against us at the current moment. We can fight this misuse of vril, however, with our intent. Intent redirects this vril. By letting go and being the observer, by living from our heart, connecting with the energies around us and our own, we can start rediscovering the vril. Compared to the uses in the coming race, even the greatest of ascended masters have only touched the tip of the iceberg that is the power of the Vril. Thank you for watching. Hope you're all doing great. I love you all.
All right. So that video is called The Aurora Borealis, Flat Earth Magnetism, The Gate of God, and some summary of Vril, and that's off the YouTube channel, Flat Earth Paradise. So I don't want to get long-winded. Did any of you all want to put something on it before I give my 1 cent? And anybody else that want to join the conversation, press *1, family, to get in the queue. Okay, I'm sorry, Brother Sean. Go ahead.
Vril. I've heard that name before on the movie, and it was some type of energy source or something. I think it went over their hands. It was some type of living being, but it was able to shoot some type of energy blast or something else. I think it also takes control of the person's body. I mean, it started out seeming like a good thing, but then it turns out to be some type of parasite host.
Interesting. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sis.
That could have been a Star Trek flick, I think. The Vril.
Okay, now y'all gonna have me go look for it now. Now I'm gonna have to go this weekend and look for it. It's always, we got so much information to flow through. That's interesting.
The name, he kept saying that. I said, I know that name. How do I know that name? And I'm thinking it's the Star Trek flick. So anyway. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's okay, sis. And why I gravitated towards this, and I encourage the family to put the visuals to what he's saying, because he shows the visual of this particular Aurora Borealis, and that's basically the Vril that he's talking about. So picture the concept of the flat plane or a flat disc, a circle disc, and then underneath it you have this particular space. And in his particular drawing, he even had like another civilization down there, like a bunch of greenery and stuff. So I guess that was his way of saying Shambhala, inner earth or whatever. And then there's where that black sun was located. And then in the middle of the two, the flat plane where we're on, and the Shambhala, the black sun was in the Shambhala, okay? And it was harvesting the energy shooting forth, or the Vril, and that's that Mount Meru that he talks about. And that's where the Aurora Borealis light source comes from. And that shoots up and goes all across the planet. And then in another, same video, but in another one of his drawings, he shows where this Aurora Borealis basically also keeps cycling that energy around the planet and then back through underneath, and it creates that Torah. So anybody that know, if you don't know what a Torah is, go look it up. That's that energy force field. And even you, as a living, breathing being, you have a Torah field surrounded your body also. That's your energy centers. And that is tied to your chakra energy centers. So as I'm sitting here looking at this, wonderfully done, the way he depicted what he was explaining in the video, I immediately thought about our chakra systems and our particular body, and specifically the heart chakra, because I equate our heart chakra as the gateway between the lower and the higher self.
Mm-hmm.
or the lower and the higher dimensions, or the lower and the higher chakra centers. And your heart chakra is green. Okay, and I think it was Brother Will Kapoor who said that that's why they named Mama Earth Earth, because that's heart spelled backwards in essence. So that made me think, okay, so Mama Earth has her own energy center, and she's shooting the vril across the planet, and it's surrounding the planet, and we can tap into that vril, take from it what we need, use it for whatever purpose we want to use it. You can use it in a negative connotation. You can use it in a positive connotation. Bottom line is the energy source is there, as is your energy center is there as well, and they're feeding off of each other per se, but it's how you, as the living, breathing being, your spiritual energy centers process, how you choose to process the energy that is floating around there abundantly. Then I jumped to when we did a show a couple of months ago where we talked about the chakra system equating to the planets in our solar system, and how, folks are now, everybody has the ability to get a pretty good camera to zoom in on stuff at a reasonable price, and where you can go out on YouTube and do this yourself. I've talked about this several times, where people are zooming in on these supposed planets, okay, that they're telling us are the round balls, but as Brother Sean was alluding to earlier, when you zoom in on it, it's just like this vibration energy, just vibrating. And you could zoom in, you could see a geometric shape associated, and that just tells you what particular vibratorial rate that planet vibrates at. And guess what? That's where the associated color comes from. So I'm thinking, so that would mean that Mama Earth, if we have the aurora borealis coming through her center, so that would equal her her chakra system kundalini rising. So that's Mama Earth's kundalini rising, going up and down, okay? Her color or her vibration or vibratorial rate is green. So that's why that video spoke to me. So I'll pause in case somebody wants to put something on it. If not, we shall move on.
Well,
go ahead on, Brother Sean.
You see with the light spectrum within the aurora borealis that it is green, purple, blue.
Yep, purple. Yep, sure is.
I mean,
absolutely.
And it's further south than it used to be.
You broke up, sis. It's what than it used to be?
It's further south than it used to be. I think they said it was in Michigan here lately, because it used to be further north, but now it's moving downward. And
which is a beautiful thing.
But a lot of people are going crazy. Depression is.
That's because of their energy, because it's how they process the energy. And we've talked about that several times too, because we said as the Mama Earth vibrates at a higher rate, moving to higher dimensions, folks are going to process her energy levels differently.
Right. And they're really in depression. They're murdering each other. They are just doing obscene things nowadays that's really off the charts. And I'm like, ooh wee, is this a purifying that the Earth is doing and the planet is going through? Because people are really, off the hook. As Windows say, off. Say it again.
I'm just thinking she doesn't have to purify. She's just elevating her frequency, and it's either you're at that frequency or you don't make it.
Right.
Or you're not.
It's nothing personal. It's what you brought on yourself. You failed to listen.
True.
That's a good point. It's interesting. I was speaking with a sis earlier this week, and we got on the topic of homosexuality, and it was for another reason we got on it. And she was asking, well, what about this surge in homosexuality? Do you think it's something by design that folks are trying to do to stop population control, yada yada yada? And I said, well, that's an aspect of it, truly, that folk tried to do. I said, but I think it's much deeper than that, because Mama Earth is bringing her energy level back into a matriarch society. So therefore, that would mean that her particular frequency and the matriarchic energy, or that divine feminine energy that we've been talking about these past couple of months, will be more dominating, or is balancing out the patriarch energy that we have been in. So what I feel that's been happening with the quote surge in homosexuality is the way folk are processing the energy. The way folks are processing Mama Earth's ascension. It's the way they're handling it from a sexuality standpoint, and that's whether male or female. And I shared with her that I remember Bobby Hemming in one of his tapes from back in the 90s. He said that the homosexuality was going to rise. And it was because of the fact of the energy level, of that divine energy coming in. And that still lines up with Mama Earth ascending. So, what I was saying from my perspective, it isn't about somebody being right or wrong. And you made me think of this, Brother Sean, when you just made this statement. It just is. Mm-hmm. That's her way of ascending. And those that are ascending, you're ascending with her. That's what really ascension is about, being able to process the higher vibrational energies, which gives you access to those higher realms. So being able to operate in much higher realms. So that's what I believe is going on with Mama Earth's ascension, which as she's ascending, some of us are ascending as well, and then some just aren't processing these new energies well at all. So
also, they have a problem with letting go. You have to let go of the things that were.
Ooh, that's a good point.
I mean, you could even take this to the biblical reference when they were leaving Sodom and Gomorrah, and they were told not to look back. Mm-hmm. And she looked back and turned into a pillar of salt.
That's a very good point.
I mean, that means that obviously she was vibrating at such a low rate. She solidified.
Right. Right. She couldn't make the shift.
Exactly.
Or ascend to a certain vibratorial rate. So very, 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 very good. Okay, so only other thing I wanted to add, we kind of talked about it, off of that video, but one person wrote in the comment section, and again, that video is Aurora Borealis, Flat Earth Magnetism, The Gate of God, and Summary Braille, and that's off the YouTube channel Flat Earth Paradise, if you want to match up what he was saying with the wonderful visuals that he had. So in one of the comment sections of the YouTube video, it says, the occult studies have laid out all the clues. The yellow brick road, sun/gold, leads to the Emerald City behind the veil of the Aurora Borealis. The truth is shown in the stars. And then they said, great video. And so I, just based on what she was saying when she brought in the Wizard of Oz, because we've talked about this, and I have to give all shout out and respect to Brother Panic for breaking down what the Wizard of Oz was really about. It's about your chakra center. Okay? So you can equate following the yellow brick road or that chakra center to the Emerald City, your green chakra center, which is your heart chakra. And remember, that heart is the gateway between your lower self and your higher self. But before you get to the heart, you have your solar plex. Solar plex chakra. Okay, so I wanted to just add that as well in that comment section. That person did a very good job. Okay, so we've pretty much been talking about it, but ascension, just a quick definition of that. This is their official definition. The act of rising to an important position or a higher level. And then they also have the ascent of Christ into heaven on the fourth day of resurrection. And they call ascension, it is a noun, N-O-U-N. Excuse me if I'm being countrified with it. So, again, I just want to reference that the fourth day, when they talk about this whole Christ concept, we've talked about this several times on this show. Whenever you hear the story of the Christ concept, the Messiah, or the Wizard of Oz, that is always talking about you as the living entity soul, the internal soul, that is speaking on your spiritual journey. Okay, and specifically balancing your energy to reach that Christ level. And the story of Christ ascending into heaven on the fourth day, or fourth dimension, or heart chakra. So in other words, you're going through your energy centers, and once you balance out that heart chakra, you are able to get to the higher dimensions, ultimately getting to your crown chakra, which that is what they call the Christ level. Okay, so I just wanted to point out their Google definition of what ascension is. First, they tell you that ascension is rising to an important position or higher level. And then the second part of it, they say the ascent of Christ into heaven on the fourth day after the resurrection. So all of that, family, is connected to you as the living, breathing, eternal being. You are the Christ consciousness. So before I get into this article, I know, Brother Sean, you sent me something. I think it's about the Viril Society. Interesting. So this is the Viril Society. Was formed by a group of female psychic mediums led by I've heard this, shoot, I can't hardly see on this phone. I don't know that word. Jesuchaft medium Maria Ostrich of Zagreb, who claimed to have received communication from the Aryan aliens living on Alpha Centauri in the Aldebaran system. Allegedly, these aliens had visited Earth and settled in Samaria, and the word Viril was formed from the ancient Sumerian word very ill, like God. Interesting. A second medium was known only as Sigron, a name etymologically related to, oh crap, I done lost my place. Oh shoot, y'all, I'm sorry. Etymologically related to Sigrin, a Valkyrie and one of the Vulcan's 9 daughters in Norse legend. The society allegedly taught concentration exercises designed to awaken the forces of the Viril, and their main goal was to achieve Ramaflug or space flight to reach Aldebaran. To achieve this, the Viril Society joined the Thrill Gesellschaft to fund an ambitious program involving an interdimensional flight machine based on psychic revelations from the Aldebaran aliens. Okay, so I'm not going to read the rest of it because it's pretty lengthy, but you can go and look up the Viril Society. So that's basically, sounds like a group trying to harness some different beings. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, well, he mentioned Madame Blavatsky in the video and that society.
Okay, that's interesting. That's very, very interesting. Okay, so now I'm not advocating you joining up in any society. That's your business if you choose to. I'm just saying, right. I want to make it clear. I'm not advocating that because you don't need no society to get you to wherever you want to be. It is an individual spiritual journey that as you vibrate at certain levels, you meet up as a collective on others that are on your same frequency. So that's their business. If the Viril Society want to link up to get some ship, to go to some other dimension or planet, in that case, that's their business. I'm personally not advocating that because you have everything you need within yourself to ascend. And my point is, if you don't do the ascension for yourself, you will never reach those higher planes. Okay. All righty. So this next article that I want to read, this is by Creative Evolution, and it is, what is ascension? Ascension is a conscious choice to engage in evolution. Ascension is not about leaving the planet, getting rescued by off-world ETs, or flying up into heaven. It is not about watching the shift unfold online or waiting for external world to provide evidence of inner change. Ascension is a conscious choice to engage in evolution. I teach the Christic path of ascension, which leads to embodiment of the solar cosmic Christ, a template for the solar logos and form. everything from universes, galaxies, solar systems, Gaia, parenthesis Earth, and human form are based on this model template, logos, or source, God/creator, beingness. The solar cosmic Christ is not a man. It is a force which reflects pure source consciousness and reignites the lower consciousness with its multidimensional self and ultimately with source. I have written extensively about the Christ crystal or crystalline consciousness on this site. Human DNA holds the possibility to fully embody the Christ state of beingness. It is my act of divine service to teach this path during the dimensional shift upon Gaia. When consciously activated, the ascension process affects every aspect, level, and layer of a person's beingness. The physical, emotional, mental, egotic, and spiritual structures undergo acute transformation, evolving to meet the demands of a higher level of consciousness. I'm going to read that again because that was pretty powerful. When consciously activated, the ascension process affects every aspect, level, and layer of a person's beingness. The physical, emotional, mental, I'm going to just say ego, and spiritual structures undergo acute transformation, evolving to meet the demands of higher level of consciousness. The awakening phenomenon is one of the more impressive effects of the shift. Amidst the external changes, political, social, financial, spiritual, solar, and planetary, people encounter profound internal change due to the ascending frequencies. This heightened awareness returns wisdom, knowledge, and a connection to divine aspects of the self, which had been dormant for thousands of years. Planetary ascension is a change in frequency. Dimensions are based on vibration. Each dimension has a range of frequency which creates the reality or experience within that dimension. Anything living on a planet must resonate with the vibration level of that planet or higher, or it cannot exist in that reality. As the frequency of the earth changes, everything on her surface is affected by this increase in frequency. Ascension guidance for activation, integration, and acceleration. Integration is vital to achieving a permanent state of higher consciousness. In the ascension process, it is essential to clear and retrain the lower emotions, ego, and mental constructs which block higher states of consciousness. This frees the true self to do what it came here to do: awake and embody a unique expression of source. Reliance on external modalities, channels, and old paradigm, New Age methods has limited the awakening process for quite a few people. Many are now ready to take on the task of self-empowerment, reactivate their divine human state and achieve crystalline consciousness. Incredible possibilities for Earth and humanity. The shift, jump time, evolutionary upgrades in consciousness, and the ascension process have been discussed for years in spiritual circles and for millennia in ancient cultures. Waves of unique cosmic energies have been surging throughout our galaxy for decades, and the window of amplification has arrived. It isn't the end of the world. It is the beginning of a new paradigm, and big change is typically rough. The shift is a shift in consciousness, a dramatic change in the parameters by which we experience reality. The physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and dimensional changes which are occurring here have never been experienced before. It is a fantastic time to be here and experience evolution firsthand. How do I ascend? Won't it happen to me anyway? Each dimension has a range of frequencies which creates the structure for experiencing a certain kind of reality. Third dimensional reality is the lowest density or frequency which a human expression of consciousness may experience. There are many side effects of the old 3D reality, including the illusion of linear time, the inability to perceive higher dimensions, and spiritual amnesia, where memory of past lives, experiences in other dimensions, and connection to the rest of the universe is forgotten. All of that is changing during the shift. This is why the phenomenon of awakening is so widespread. We are waking up from the amnesia of 3D and reconnecting with higher dimension consciousness. Apocalypse and the planet. Anything which desires to experience life on a planet must resonate with the vibration level of that planet in order to exist within the parameters of that reality. The frequency of the Earth has been increasing and continues to rise, which means everything in, on, and around her surface is affected. Higher frequency always overpowers the lower vibrations. As the parameters for 4D reality dissolve, the planet supports the experience of a higher dimension. This change in dimensional structure is becoming very apparent to those awakened. Apocalypse means lifting of the veil, the unveiling of higher dimensions which were once hidden by the density of 3D reality. The human ascension process. Humans are unique. Our DNA holds the code for all life in this universe, an expression of creator consciousness embodied, creator incarnate, in human, parenthesis, God-man, expression. Your primary responsibility in this game of amnesia is to wake up and remember who you are as a divine human. The ascension process is the transformation of the physical body, light body, and the consciousness which animates it in order to hold a higher vibrational state. Your higher self is merging with your lower dimensional self after a very long separation in 3D experience. In order for your body to be capable of holding that higher frequency, it must transform into a crystalline base cellular structure. DNA, which has been dormant, must be activated. Our consciousness must be expanded beyond the boundaries of the habitable 3D/4D existence. It is physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually challenging, and it is quite amazing. Medical impossibilities are popping up all over the globe. Not everyone has chosen to awaken in this lifetime, nor do they have to awaken. There are many factors involved in experiencing the ascension process, and we are all here to play out the shift in our own way. The changes will affect your life stream. Severe weather and climate change are imminent due to the drastic reduction of the magnetosphere and magnetic shifts in the Earth itself. Global warming is simply an effect of the collapse of the, now this is interesting now. Global warming is simply an effect of the collapse of the astral planes of consciousness as we go through the shift. There is less protection between us and the sun, and that is fine. That puts it interesting in the light as we talked about them throwing up a shield to block out the sun. That's very interesting. Gaia is a very patient, conscious entity with a long and diverse history. It is her destiny to become a spiritual sun, a more solar beingness to host a collective of solar cosmic Christ humans. This window of evolution coincides with many galactic alignments, some of which only occur in a million and billion year cycles. Galactic cycles are very long, and the experiences of other off-world races, systems, and galaxies depend on the rising of Earth's frequency. It is a bit like the weakest link. Other games cannot be played until this density is upgraded. Gaia is constantly balancing magnetics as 3D dissolves from the collective reality. The doomed timeline, a complete destruction of everything on her surface, has been eliminated thanks to the amount of awakened consciousness on the planet. She is heavily influenced by a collective consciousness, and millions have been connecting with her to smooth the transition during the shift. And it's saying it is a process which requires participation. The dimensional split between a 3D/4D version of Earth and an ascending 5D version, and they put in parentheses the new Earth, began in August 2011. Our planet ascended to 5D on the December 12, 2012. This means a platform for the new experience of the return of the true human genome is provided. Kind-wise, humanity is able to merge with their 5D and above aspects while the veils are down and bring heaven 5D and beyond to Earth, merging with these realities. Lower vibration systems, programs, entities, and belief systems dissolve in the new light, sometimes with ease, sometimes with resistance. Even the lower 4D expression of Earth will drop out of existence. We now have a holographic platform for a 4D experience of collective awakening. Many are choosing to fully embody a 5D consciousness of unconditional love right here in this reality. as an act of divine service to raise the collective vibration into peace, harmony, and compassion. Some are choosing to embody a Christ consciousness, which enables a conscious connection to 5 to 12D expression of the self. We do not know how long this 4D platform will be available. Excuse me, family. Whether it is 2 years or 200 years does not matter. The inevitable shift is well underway. Evolution is evolution. The entire planet and all of her residents are experiencing the shift, regardless of their awareness of it. Ascension is a conscious process which requires a choice to engage with the unknown in order to experience something brand new. It is remarkable, challenging, and rewarding process which frees the self from perceived limitations. Open up to all that you truly are, beloved. For clarity on the ascension process and how to embody your unique expression of the Christ state, participate in the Ascension Path online training. Okay, so that article was from a website called Creative Evolution, and it's with a lady called Sandra Walter, and it's titled "What is Ascension?" So I'll pause in case the panel wants to put something on it. Let me get a drink of water. That was a lot of reading, y'all.
Indeed. First off, I agree with a lot of what she said.
Mm-hmm.
And ascension being, true ascension being to be able to be as one with every aspect of self. But I still heard limitations in there. I mean, okay, getting the body to a crystalline state. Okay, I get that. And then you can do more things with the physical body. That's still encapsulating the soul. I mean, all we doing is pushing this body to the limits and seeing what they can do. I mean, we had these vessels perfected before, being able to be right. I mean, so what? We going in the circle again? We're trying to go beyond all that. I mean, that's what I'm looking at. Sure, it's keeping that.
It's a very good point, because what caught me, and which I was going to comment on, I do want to tip my hat off to the woman on the article. She, I think, described the ascension process perfectly, and putting it in the light of the energies and what that Christ factor really means, the vibratorial state of Mama Earth rising. But when she put in here about going from 5D to, I think she said 12D, then I realized, okay, she's still limited it to this particular realm, or Mama's realm. And so thank you for pointing that out, Brother Sean, because I want the family to know that where we are at this point in time, and I don't even want to say time, this age, or this energy cycle, let's put it that way, that's even better, we are able to access beyond the 12D, because the brother that called in earlier with the area code 813 was talking about brother 7 was saying that 12 zodiac sign going beyond that. Okay, and that's the point that we are at. You can ascend beyond 12D. That's the point where we are at. So I don't want anyone by any means to feel that, once I get to 5D, that's it. Once I get to 7D, that's it. Once I get to 12D, that's it. No, you are able to go beyond that. That is what ascension is about. It's how far do you want to go, okay, in your Merkaba or your spaceship. You write your program and use the energies or frequencies that are available to you to travel to whatever realm you choose to operate in. So that is the age that we are in. But other than that, very, very good article. I think she did a great job breaking that down. So did anybody else have anything I wanted to put on it?
Well, I was thinking about the movie about Shambhala.
Mm-hmm.
And in Shambhala, there was total peace. There was no strife. You were at ease. You had made it past the trials and tribulation of survival. And when Sister Lioness was doing her show, she said during this time period, we're going to have a lot of people ill and blood pressures, and people think they're having strokes and heart attacks and all this kind of stuff. And she said as the vibratory process of the planet and ascension happens, that you're going to have to relax and know that you're not having a stroke, you're not having high blood pressure or nothing. And it's just the vibratory changes of the planet that's going on. And then we also have to look at the fact that Brother Sean said earlier, we have to surrender. We can't be in control anymore. We can't be depressed because we can't get what we think is good for us. Because what is good for us is going to happen, because that's the whole idea of Shambhala and ascension, is to get to that area of whatever dimension that we're supposed to get to. Now, one thing that stuck with me, you said a couple of weeks ago, was that our higher self and our lower self are coming together to help this self to get through the transition, so we can all kind of like join together into one self, to the perfect self of love and unity that we're supposed to be at. But you didn't say all that, but I'm just adding some more to it. But anyway.
I'm like, I said all that, dang.
It's like we're getting the guidance from the Akashic record that was, and the higher self that is. And then that's bringing us into consciousness of what we need to relax in and just enjoy the ride.
Absolutely.
It's supposed to be the way it's supposed to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Perfectly said, sis. And, it's very interesting because as we move along this journey, and those of us that are doing our personal spiritual journey and going within, your level, I put it this way, as your level of consciousness change, the way that you process information changes as well. And those of you that's been on the spiritual journey, you know what I'm talking about. Because the way that I may have processed information a year ago is different than the way that I'm processing information now. And I enter and understand it's me tuning my vessel to a certain frequency. So as Mama is tuning her vessel, each individual person should be tuning their vessel also. And so the distraction to keep you caught in the density is the fear, is to holding on to certain things that really need to be let go for you to keep on your ascension journey. So very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, so family, we don't want to hog up. If you want to join the conversation, press *1. I am going to jump into another aspect of what is ascension, and this is only 7 minutes, and this is by somebody called Melanie Fletcher Deliberate YouTube channel. So this is called What is Ascension? This is just to give you another aspect as well, so you can get familiar with the concept of what ascension really is. So here we go.
Hey, my happy shiny puppies. This is Melody Fletcher, author of Deliberate Receiving. Finally, the universe makes some freaking sense. And in today's video, I would like to explain what I already alluded to and mentioned in the last 2 videos, which is the concept of ascension. What is ascension, actually? I know I explained it just a little bit in the video from 2 weeks ago, and today I'd like to do a full video on it because it has brought up a lot of questions. So when I talk about ascension, I'm not talking about ascension in the biblical sense, where, you know, some angels come down and they rapture everybody, and the sinners stay on earth and burn in hellfire or whatever, and then the believers go up to heaven and get to drink sangria or something. I don't know. So that's not what I'm talking about. Yeah? When I'm talking about ascension, I'm also not talking about a kind of a warning or a threat, whereas if you don't get on this train, you're going to be left behind, you're going to go somewhere bad, you're going to miss out on the party. That's not what I'm talking about either. So, you know, a lot of people are talking about reality splitting, and if you don't jump on this train, you're not going to be able to get back on it ever. That's not at all what resonates with me, and those are not at all the messages that I have and the visions that I have. So let me tell you about what I'm talking about and see if it resonates with you. The type of ascension that I'm talking about is a massive shift in consciousness that humanity and the entire planet are going through. A collective raising of our vibration, collective and individual, which means that everyone's going to get there eventually. Not everyone's going to get there at the same time. Everybody gets to go at their own pace, and no one's going to get left behind ultimately, because even if you don't make it in this lifetime, if you transition or die, yeah, then you're doing it in that moment too. So this massive raising in consciousness, which, by the way, you don't have to die to experience, is essentially a stepping into an entirely different dimension, an entirely different world. Now, I know that I have not spoken about dimensions before, and I've never actually been interested in the language around talking about dimensions, 3D and 5D, but only recently has that come into the information that I've been receiving, and so I have started to educate myself on the different dimensions, and I might do a video on what the difference is between the different dimensions. But for those of you who are interested in that topic, now you may know more what I'm talking about. Those who aren't, don't worry about it. Here's what I'm talking about. It is a completely different reality, a much more positive reality that we now have access to, and you can step into that. You can begin your journey into that now, right now. There has never been a better time to step into that. What kind of reality am I talking about? A reality where there is more love than there is hate. In fact, love is everything. It is not just the predominant emotion, it is the driving force behind everything. I'm talking about cooperation instead of competition. I'm talking about honoring and respecting each other, unity, understanding that ultimately we are all one, and that if you hurt anybody else, you're really just hurting yourself, and so it becomes unthinkable to actually do anything like that. I'm talking about a world that most people can't even properly imagine. But it's what we're all being pulled to from the inside. It's what our hearts have been trying to tell us for years. And we have not been ready to embrace this reality before, but now we are, and it's been easier to do than ever before. And if you're watching this video, then you are ready to hear this message. No doubt about it. Because is everybody ready to hear this? No, but those people aren't watching this video or videos like it. So if you're actively seeking out this information, I'm guessing that you are if you're watching this, then you are ready and this message is for you. Make that choice. Now, what happens if you don't deliberately and consciously choose the better feeling perspective, and you don't choose love, and you don't choose empowerment, and you don't decide to go ahead and go for what you want rather than what you think society thinks that you should do? Are you going to be left behind? No, because this process is automatic. If evolution wasn't automatic, and I'm talking about spiritual evolution, technological evolution, biological evolution, it's all rolled into one big ball for me. If evolution wasn't automatic and the system wasn't designed with a fail-safe to make sure it's automatic, the human race would have died out long ago. Let's face it, it's not like we haven't tried. So if it's automatic, then you don't really need to worry about it. Yeah? The only thing that I say is if you understand this stuff intellectually and you start to do it consciously and deliberately, it makes the process a lot easier to handle. You understand what's going on. You freak out a lot less. And dare I say it, you can actually enjoy yourself. Because the point of being here right now isn't just to ascend. It's not to sit in a little room and do a bunch of personal development work. That is a tool that we may use to facilitate the process. But the point of being here is to have the ride of lifetimes. This is the best show going in the universe right now. This is the main stage. This is the main event. I said a couple of videos ago, this is the Super Bowl of spiritual development. So, get on the train if you want. If it resonates with you, if it excites you. If it doesn't, don't worry. Don't be afraid. If you want to and your parents or your children or your aunt and uncle don't want to, that's okay. Nothing's going to happen to them. They're not going to suddenly have horrible lives. They may stay in their denial state and their lives aren't going to be nearly as awesome as they could be, but that is their journey and it's not for you to judge how quickly or how slowly they go through this process. Yeah? So, again, please don't see this as a doom and gloom message where I'm saying, if you don't do this, something bad's going to happen. If you don't do this, nothing bad's going to happen. This is not about avoiding more pain. This is about maximizing pleasure. This is about having a lot more fun. This is about amping up the awesome. I mean, isn't it about time we made the shift to that? So hopefully this video has excited you as much as me. This whole concept excites you as much as me. If it doesn't, please leave me a comment down below. I really want to hear what you guys have to say. And, leave me a thumbs up, leave me a thumbs down. Just give me a reaction because otherwise I'm just standing in a room by myself talking at a camera. And I really want to make this a two-way conversation. So if you'd like to have more content like this, check me out on YouTube or go to my website at deliberatereceiving.com where the Happy Shiny Puppy Army, which is my tribe of like-minded, powerful creators who can't wait to meet you, are waiting and ready to have fantastic conversations with you. This has been Melody Fletcher with my weekly Q&A. I will see you guys next week.
Well, then, Sister Elrose, she's having some technical difficulties at the moment, but she will be right back with us as soon as she can. Sister Sandra, what's your take on this?
Well, one of the things that is the primary concept on this is love. And with love comes harmony. and peace and joy and happiness and all that kind of stuff. And with stressors, it's the opposite. And when I was listening to all these things, I keep remembering what Dr. Phil Valentine said, is that as we ascend into, he said, the proton belt in the middle of the galaxy or wherever, and this is on a level of the different dimensions that we're supposed to ascend in these videos, he said that we'll be able to look back at the ones as they continue to go through their strife and their stresses while we have made the transition into the higher self, that we're of the ones who've made the decision to just love and let go and be conscious of what we're supposed to be going towards. And the ones who stay behind, they'll still be alive and doing their thing, but they won't be going forward in making that ascension necessary. So, and there's another concept about ascension where the Earth is ascending and the vibrations are going to be so high that the galactical family is going to help us and all this kind of stuff. But I really like this love one, because love, peace, and happiness is really the best to me than all the galactical ships holding us back and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm listening to and thinking about as I hear this stuff.
Wow, that's great, sis. Can you all hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, cool. And 504, I see you, sweetheart. So, sis, who did you say was saying that we would be able to, those that choose to ascend to the higher levels will be able to look back and see the ones that chose not to move to the higher realms that's still in 3D/4D density, or they weren't ready? Who said that we would be able to go back and look?
Dr. Phil Valentine.
Okay.
Yeah, because he did a whole series on this concept of us ascending, the whole, people who want to go, who's getting into the consciousness level of understanding and love and want to change and want to be at peace and not in control. And so of their lives like we are on 3D, we are always going crazy on 3D trying to take care of everything.
Right.
We always, And that he had a lecture on this. He really did. It was really interesting.
Okay. Let me bring on 504. Here we go here. 504, your line is open.
Peace, fam.
Peace. Oh, that's my boy. Hey, how you doing?
Peace, fam. What's going on, Brother Sean? How you doing? Queen, how are you, love?
I am doing well, Brother Will. I'm doing well. Good to hear your voice.
Yeah. I'm jumping on here a little late, but I want to throw my couple quarters and a nickel in there.
Okay.
About the ascension process. Of course, going up the chakras, which is the main thing of ascension. Ascension starts from the root chakra to your crown, back to your heart chakra. This is the reason why the movie like Wonder Woman, she knew she had powers, but in order for her to defeat this particular god, she had to fall in love. So that's when she became her most powerful self.
That heart chakra.
On the movie The Mummy, with Tom Cruise, in order for him to become a god, he sacrificed himself for the love of a woman, which also dealt with love. A lot of this stuff dealing with love is on many walls all over the planet. Dealing with this energy that if you want to get to a higher level of yourself, because that's what it's actually coming to, yourself. You don't stop. You don't stop searching self. You fall in love with self. Some people, I've ran across some people saying that, man, I don't have time. I say, well, look, if you have time to go stand in line, to go get some J's, and you can always find time to do whatever it is you want.
Right.
But once you have that particular understanding, and actually believe it, because at the end of the day, it's like you have to come into a belief state. Now, we don't like to say beliefs and all of this type of stuff here because we always connect that to religion, which before religion became the religion that it is, that was our concepts of faith in self, of looking for, searching for the Godhead, which is within yourself. But as far as dealing with you as this particular being, falling in love with yourself. With that belief, once you trust in it, okay. Once you trust in that concept of, okay, is this thing even real? Okay. If I go to any book, any so-called religious book on the planet, it says I'm some kind of God. Whether it's a big G or a little G, it says who I am. So once you understand that, then you really have to start asking these questions like, okay, well, what does this mean? Right. Okay, and then you start to research in the chakras, which you start hearing about. They say the Hindu culture brought a lot of that out, the Kundalini energy, things of that nature. But when you really start to research this stuff and seeing that the whole world is designed off chakras, the whole world. Another example on the movie Logan. Okay, in the beginning of that movie, they had a part in the movie where there was a light switch, and on the light switch it said Mars, and it had a red sticker by it. Now, when you able to, of course, tap in and start to understand what is Mars. Mars is the root chakra. So they know this information. So that's why they put it on the big screen. So when you start to understand that and then start to, go looking in the damn mirror like, okay, who the hell are you? Okay, what's going on with this? And why, when I go into the Bible, it tells me to meditate. But Pastor tells me to pray. And it actually says if you love your law, you meditate day and night. Okay? Through meditation is how you ascend. Yeah. Okay? Because that really forces you to start looking within yourself. And also, you have to learn how to let go. Because I was listening to the last video that the lady was talking, and she was talking some good stuff, man. I really liked that video. But one thing, that we have to add, especially with melanated people, especially with, going through so much that we go through, as far as, living in the hood and all this type of stuff, growing up black, basically, that causes us to harbor things. We hold on to things. And as long as you're holding on to something someone did you 10 years ago, okay, you cannot get openly into your heart chakra. Right. You have to let go. When you let go, those tears have to flow. You have to let it go. Whether it's a person that transitioned, and it's the thing. I just did a video about understanding that, let's say someone raped a young lady, okay, and then that person transitioned, okay. Now, when that person leaves the physical body, okay, immediately they understand that, well, damn, hold up, what the hell? This wasn't real? well, hold up. Damn, I did this to my niece, and oh my God. So what happens is they get stuck in sorrow when they transition. So they could be stuck in the house trying to find some kind of way to apologize to this particular woman. It could be 20 years later, and they still stuck trying to get up an apology to this particular person. And on the opposite side of it, with that person, okay, they have to, and I know it gets hard sometimes, you know, to forgive someone who harmed you, okay? But in order for you to not bring a sickness to yourself, because when you harbor these things, you actually bring sickness to yourself. We don't understand it, but then later on you turn 45, 50, 55, and you having back pains, and then next thing you know, you're like, man, I ain't never had this stuff before, because you was harboring something that happened to you 20 years ago, and it was spiritual then, but now it has become physical.
Right.
Because you held on to it. So I was encouraging people. I say, look, if you don't have an altar set up, set you up an altar. Put that person's picture on that altar. Go to that person and say, first and foremost, I forgive me, myself. And then you forgive that person. What that's going to do is that's going to release them, and it's also going to release you to go higher within yourself, within your chakras.
And
each chakra is a dimension.
Chakra. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Each chakra is a dimension. So when we talk the fifth dimension, you're talking about rising within yourself.
That's right.
You know, trying to fill out the whole body. You know, so once you're able to do that and forgive, and that's some of our hardest things, because we've been through so much. You know, people getting shot. Damn every black person know at least one person that been shot. You know,
right.
So it's like we've been through so much trauma to where we don't understand spirituality. You know,
right.
Because we're going through so much in the physical. But once you get into that forgiveness state, then you can start learning about the love. You know, but forgiveness comes first. Forgive yourself, because it wasn't your fault that act happened. I don't care what it is. I don't care what the hell. If you didn't have on nothing, that still is not a right for somebody to touch you.
Right.
You know, so my message is basically start to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for the things that happened in the past, whether it's a man or a woman. Let it go.
Yeah.
If you want to ascend within yourself, let it go.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Brother Will. And it also goes into the emotions that can leave you stuck certain place where you cannot balance out that chakra, and meaning that you cannot ascend.
Right, yeah, definitely.
So you definitely, I totally agree with you that, you know, you have to not only for the forgiveness, because forgiveness is a big one, but with that forgiveness also tie into emotions of hurt, of sorrow, of grief. In order for us to ascend to those higher dimensions, you're right, we have to go through that pain, because a lot of times we don't want to go through the pain, or we get stuck in the pain. But either way, you have to go through it. You have to walk through it. And then you'll start to come out on the other side, and that's when the forgiveness comes into place. That's when you let go of the fear. And once you start getting into that place where you can let go, that's when you're going to start to balance out that heart chakra. And that's when you're going to be able to reach those higher dimensions, and you're going to look up and say, wow, I feel a weight has been lifted off my shoulder. I'm so happy. I feel peace. I feel joy. Because you balance out that heart chakra, because you've worked through those particular emotions.
Yeah, definitely.
So
definitely.
very, very good point, brother.
And you know what's crazy? Let me throw this at you real quick. We don't, because we're so caught up in the world's events, we don't understand that the so-called shadow government, they understand that this is a spiritual war. So what they're going to do is they're going to, provoke emotions. And how do they do that? They get an android cop, okay, and they'll have him shoot somebody. And immediately that's going to circulate on social media. And as soon as black people see that, all of a sudden they're killing us. So they know what it takes to rise up. And that's why I keep fighting people. We're not fighting physically, but letting them know, look, don't believe the hype.
Right.
A lot of this stuff is staged. You got to understand that they are trying to attack your emotions so you cannot rise.
To keep you stuck at a certain vibratorial state.
Yeah.
So you cannot ascend, because when you get to the higher realms, you can't bring that fear with you. You can't bring that anger with you. It doesn't resonate in the higher realms, because the higher realms you're operating off of love. So
definitely.
Very, very, very good point, brother, and very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. And, interesting story, real quick. I, earlier, was it last week? It blends together for me, y'all. And I know some of you all know what I'm talking about, the concept of, quote, quote, what they call time. You be like, you get off track. And I know, Brother Wood, you know what I'm talking about. When you operating in different dimensions and doing different things, the quote, quote, concept of time, you lose it. But anyhow,
big time.
yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So I can't remember when. I think it was last week. So a particular issue had came up, and I had immediately went to the dreadful, oh, man, I'm not looking forward to this. So I immediately went to the negative for I would say half a day, just dreading, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, you know what, get yourself together, Rhonda. Get out of this negativity pot. Get your shit together and take it higher than this. This is not necessary. You putting on extra stress to yourself. So I wind up linking up with whom I needed to link up with, and then it was totally the opposite. It was totally something very much so positive. And so I'm like, damn, now that's just messed up on my part to have put myself in that state of negativity when this is something totally positive, because that's the environment I had created. And the messed up part about it, what had wind up being a positive thing, was something that I had created. So I had to totally apologize just to the energy itself. I so apologize, because this is what I created. This is what I tapped into. And for a glimpse moment, I was about to sabotage my damn self. Is the point I'm trying to make. So it is, easy for us to, if you're not conscious of it, and this is this whole concept of being the owner and the driver and the author and the creator of your own reality and your own script. That is a perfect example. We create the reality we are currently living in, and that's why it's all inner. It's all about you. And if you allow either some outside influences, whether it be the television, whether it be the politicians, whomever, whether you feel it's some galactics going to do X, Y, Z, elemental P, then that's on you. Because you are allowing inside of your vessel, or you are allowing someone to write your script for you. And that's not what this is about. Ascension is about you being in total control of your Merkaba, your spiritual body, to ascend as high as you want to go or not go. But your emotions, like Brother Will said, and especially for melanated people, our emotions play a very powerful source because we are very emotional beings. And that is because of who you are in the makeup of your DNA. You are an older being, so you have a lot of Akashic records with inside of you, and you have lived, so many different experiences. So this is the reason why we are emotionally charged, and over the last, 500 years or so, the trauma that we have experienced. So part of this ascension process is definitely balancing out your emotions. And I know I had to learn from me, and I don't know who said this, and forgive me. One of the master teachers said it, and it just hit me with a ton of bricks like, damn. When you experience something, whether it be good or whether it be bad, when you go back and think about it and dwell on it, you time travel in the past. So meaning, if you had a negative experience and you want to keep dwelling on it, then you are putting yourself back at that same state or dimension or frequency where it already happened. It happened already. So why would you keep continuously putting yourself in that particular old reality and altering your vibratorial state? We are in the age of you're supposed to be living in the now. So drawing off of the experience from that past to learn from them and just waiting with open arms to what you are going to create for your future, if that makes sense. So I'll pause in case somebody else wants to put something on it, but very, very good point, brother, on those emotions. I truly appreciate you for calling in, dropping those jewels on the family.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. I had to talk. I had to. It was running short. I said, oh, shit. I got the heart for high. Let him. You know, my man Sean always hit me up every week. Be like, hey, the show going to be about this, and this, I'm like,
right.
I got to get on.
Right. And I brought you up earlier because you may not have been on, but another video talked about the aurora borealis, and we talked about that aura of the green light, and it talked about how it shoots up through the center of Mama Earth, and I was equating that to that's Mama Earth Kundalini rising, and I equated that green energy to heart chakra energy, and I said, because Brother Will said we broke down Earth very, very beautifully. It's the baddest thing I've ever seen, where you equated earth to heart spelled backwards. So I said that would make perfect sense, where one of her more prominent energies that we can physically see is that green energy, which represents that heart chakra, although she also emits the purple, ultraviolet, which that's getting into the higher conscious